Recording. All right, here we are again today, and I just want to welcome you all to Outside the Box. It's our new thing that we're doing here in our studio. Got our new mats back up. Oh, gotta go that way. There we go. So we got studio kind of put back together, and I got my wonderful friend Dwight Womack here in town, hanging out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we've been friends, hanging out, talking for a while, and just you know what, we need to do something.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate his heart and what he does, and loving people, and his ministry of loving people and grind legacy. You see it on his shirt a little bit.
Right. Make sure we get that.
Right there. Yeah. So we just sit here and have a conversation, brother.
Yeah.
Just kind of see what's going on in life, and talk a little bit about you, and you got a family here, and you guys moved from Louisiana up here to Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
And glad you guys lost him, by the way. I'm thankful for my brother Dwight.
Hey, we still got to go Saints,
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean we don't got professional here. I mean there's Cowboy fans, Dallas Cowboy fans.
Allegedly,
not the real Cowboys. My favorite thing in sports is whenever Sooner fans give me crap for wearing my OSU.
Yeah.
It's like, I paid for this hat fair and square. Where'd you go to college? Right. Oh, nowhere. That's where you went.
That's
okay.
Right.
All right. I just want to make sure that we were on the same page. So.
Right. Oh, absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you having me. I think it's well past due, man, that we've done something like this.
Yeah.
We worked together in the past, but I just think this platform that you created for individuals like myself to express themselves, I think it's powerful to give us an opportunity and an atmosphere to share not only our dreams and goals, but man, just where, what we are mentally, and just two individuals vibing together, and just have a common chord that we're trying to achieve. So I think it's powerful, and I appreciate being here, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, and not everybody gets to come on.
Right. So I'm special.
Yeah. Well, and one thing too is I had Dwight come and actually speak at one of my first talks that we had, doing equipping leaders, and he has this powerful message about the 4 E's, and they are.
Well, the 4 E's: you want to educate yourself on the topic, execute the plan, endure the process, and empower the next generation to do so. So. That's the 4 E's, man. I preach it. I'm a big believer in it. I really believe that any obstacle that you come across, you can combat it with those 4 E's. If you put in the work and put in and have the mindset to accomplish it, I think you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and for me, I have my 3 T's. So my 3 T's are time, talent, and treasure.
Yeah.
Does it cost you or does it benefit you?
Right.
Powerful. Because, man, whenever I make those decisions, all right, is this real estate deal going to be worth it? Or is this event or is this activity, is it costing me time, talent, and treasure?
Yeah.
Or is it gaining it?
Yeah.
One or the other.
Right.
So that's a really good balance, especially the fact that I have my wife and my 3 kids. Is this activity worth me taking away from them?
Exactly.
That's usually the first thing that comes to mind now.
Yeah.
I admit I was a very selfish person, and that was the last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
But now, that's what it is.
Man, it's so powerful that you say that. I did a talk via social media the other day, just how life needs to be more qualitative and not quantitative. Okay. And what I mean by that is quantitative, we get tied up in how much money am I going to make? How big is the 401k? How big is this deal? Or how many cars can I have? But I think we need to focus on the qualitative side of it, coming from aspect. How are you spiritually? How are you, health wise? Can you really enjoy the quantitative side? If you don't put in the work. So I get up, going through my recent, adventures or I don't want to say it's right. I don't want to say it's a downside because I really believe everything happens for a reason. And we may get into it during the talk. But I went through a transition recently, and that topic really hit home with me because I had a nice salary, I was comfortable, and I just remember coming home and telling my kids that I was laid off, and And they both looked at me and they were both excited. And the quantitative part would tell you.
They were excited.
Right. The quantitative part would tell you.
Kids like their daddies.
Right. They would tell you. Exactly.
It's a thing.
But it put it in perspective for me because I was like, am I doing what I love to do? And I think the world tells us that if you fit in this box, you can be happy versus, for example, when I was growing up, I grew up in Louisiana. So oil, manufacturing, refineries, that's big. So my aunt that raised me would always, I guess you could say, advocate, get a good job at the plant. What does that entail? Being an engineer, and not saying all this stuff is not, is bad, but it never was a question, what is it that you like to do and let the money follow? You hear these companies, people that cut grass, make millions of dollars a year just cutting grass. I mean, I guess when they started, I don't know if they had $1 million in mind, but it evolved to that.
Yeah.
People cut hair. They open several salons or barbershops, but they're doing what they're passionate about. The qualitative side of things.
Right.
And it just put me in perspective because I've always tried to, get outside of the box, outside of the 9 to 5.
Right.
But life would always tell you got to get insurance. We got to get this 401k. And I would always go back, almost like a backup plan, almost like a safety cushion.
Right.
And I can tell in my life that how God was trying to tell me, like, no, man, you need to get outside the box. I mean, yes, you can do a 9 to 5, but I have so much more for you, than just punching this clock from 7 to 5, and this time around, I just took the bull by the horns. I'm saying, hey, look, I'm going to see, I'm going to take a year and see what I can do with this deal. and mind you, I have gotten offers to go work again in other places, but I'm like, no, let's just see what happens for a year. Jobs will be around. So
jobs will be around.
But yeah. So it's just fun that you say that, man. That qualitative, when you say time, I think is I think if you Google it, there's like a Bill Gates calculator. And I think the saying is, if Bill Gates was walking down the street and stopped to pick up $100 bill, he would lose more money stopping to pick that money up than he would actually. So I was like, man, that kind of hit home.
Kind of hits you. Yeah, no doubt. Well, and it's not at all the fact that I don't want to serve and love people as much as I can, because that's what I am called to do. My purpose in life is to love people and to do international mission work.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, my job and obligation is to be at home, take care of my wife, take care of my children.
Exactly.
But whenever it comes to work, flipping real estate, whether from wholesaling stuff or from buying and flipping with my partner or whatever, or buying and holding, I make a lot of money per hour.
Yeah.
Like figuring out, because I'm actually pretty lazy whenever it comes to real estate.
Mm-hmm.
To be perfectly honest, but I've built up a reputation to where people say, "Hey, Roger, I got a deal. Can you help these people out?"
Right.
Well,
Roger, is it lazy, or you just become more efficient?
Well, Bill Gates says if you want I think it was Bill Gates that said that if you want to figure out the easiest way to get something done, have a lazy person figure it out.
That's true. I've heard that. I've heard that.
And no, I'm not lazy by any means. Right. It's just I kind of say that in jest because a lot of people don't think I do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does Roger do? It's like, well, my mentor taught me, Savvy Ben Kallenberg. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Nice.
He said, if you can't sell a house on a phone call, you didn't buy it right.
Okay.
So people don't see, like, I took 104 days off of social media. I made more money in that time period than I did all year.
Yeah.
During COVID.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's because of the fact that I got back to the basics of relationship.
Yeah.
Because social media makes people not very social.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
The great oxymoron.
That's the greatest oxymoron in the world, right?
Right.
But, I mean, you guys even came, to Megan's, party or whatever, and I didn't put a single thing on social media. Right. I called up every single person, hey, I'm surprising Megan, would you come?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, thank you guys again for coming. That meant a lot to her and to me that y'all came with your kids.
Yeah.
But something, and I'm going to probably repeat this every single show.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have somebody in your phone and you see that it's their birthday on Facebook, you call them.
Yeah. Not send a quick message.
Man, not a happy birthday. Like, I had Anthony in here. He turned 22 just the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Bought his first property before he was 22.
Right.
He was 21.
Nice.
And I called him up just, hey, Pastor Anthony, what's going on? You know, he's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And got him in here to interview with me. And what's crazy is that it was me and his grandma that called him on his birthday.
What?
Like, that hurts my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because people are not personable.
No.
Man, you want to love somebody, you want to be involved in somebody, man, just call them and say hi.
Yeah.
You never know what that's going to do to somebody.
Yeah.
Especially on their birthday, apparently.
Exactly.
Because people don't call and say happy birthday.
It's so funny that you say that, man, because like, I guess you could say maybe 5 or 6 months ago, I made it a point to start reaching out to family members just to say how much I appreciate them. And yeah, you can call me a big teddy bear. You can call me a big teddy bear, but just my upbringing required that village mentality, and everyone played their part. So I come from a large family. I had 7 uncles and 8 aunts. So yeah, right. And those are
that's right. I had 7. I had 7 on my dad's side, or 6 on my dad's side, 4 on my mom's side.
Yeah,
3. Yeah, so 4 and 7 kids. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right. And I made it a point to, like, I can remember one example. My Uncle John. Now, growing up, I didn't have a father figure. Well, my father wasn't at home. I had father figures, but my biological father wasn't there. And I just remember he was the first person to kind of, all right, here's the key to this truck. You're 10. I need you to take this truck from over here to over there.
There you go.
Like, I don't know how to drive, you know. And he set me in the seat and
we're gonna try this out.
Right. And quickly.
Was it a stick shift or an automatic?
Automatic.
Okay, all right. So that's a little safer.
Thank goodness. Right. But what's funny is he had a John Deere tractor that wasn't automatic.
That was not automatic.
We learned, man. I learned how to drive it. Right. You're tearing it up. But I learned to drive, you know, via him. Bulldozers, man, cut wood, like anything that I would name would probably get a parent in trouble right now if they showed their kid I do, like chop wood.
Yeah.
And go outside and chop this tree down and see, you know, type deal at 10 or, you know, but, you know, I just became appreciative of my family. And to go back to what you said, I just made it a point. Brothers, aunts, uncles, cousins that were like brothers to me growing up. I was like, man, you could have been doing anything. You hanging out with me, you know, type deal. So I think you are absolutely right for individuals, man, to say, hey, look, you need to reach out. You need to, you know, bond. You know, it's just crazy the times we're in, man, that like, it's just that people don't do it anymore.
No.
And it's kind of sad.
No, let me ask you. So you grew up in Louisiana, like, most people only know New Orleans and Shreveport. I mean, I know Shreveport really well because I was a Shriner and, you know, going down to the hospital and stuff like that. But what part of Louisiana?
Well, I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say Baton Rouge is the other one, you know, major city people know.
Right down the street from Tiger Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, because I know, for example, where I grew up in the many places, you know, I grew up on, you know, over in Spencer, South Oklahoma City multiple times. Like, I moved a ton.
Yeah.
And, all those neighborhoods are places that I probably should not have been riding my bike around all day. So, I can't let my children do that where we live, and we live in a nice area, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know, by the grace of God, here I am, you know, sometimes.
Right.
So, like, did you grow up in kind of an area like that, where, or did you grow up like, yeah, go ahead and just go ride your bike for the day and just make sure you're back home for dinner?
That was not the case.
That was not the case. Okay.
So, Roger, I think we have kind of like the same backstory. So, my mom was a single parent, me and my brother, South Baton Rouge. If you look up South Baton Rouge on the map, you know, it's kind of like I don't want to say that LSU gives this facade, but when I say it's near LSU is kind of in the middle of some terrible areas.
Fair enough.
Right. It had like this one section that's pretty good, but everything else is kind of low poverty and things like that. And my mom just did the best she could.
Yeah.
I went to 5 different elementary schools before second grade. And that's just because she was a paraplegic, grew up in, she was paralyzed at the age of 17. Stray bullet came through her door. Had my brother and I from a wheelchair. So God had his hand on our lives early on. But she did the best. Yeah, she did the best she could. I mean, I can sit here and tell you that I've seen every bad thing that could possibly happen, as far as witnessing people being shot, stabbed, bullied, robbed. I can give you that whole deal. But with that being said, my mom, she passed away when I was 10. And I went to live with my aunt that was she was almost like a mother figure before my mom passed, because by my mom being in a wheelchair, she did a lot for her. If it was taking me and my brother to school or all the above, just kind of, running errands for her, she was there. And so I went to go live with her, and she changed like the narrative for me. She had already raised 3 kids of her own. At the time, I had my cousin, but wound up being my brother due to the fact my aunt adopted me. Okay. But he was already in college, and I had a brother and sister on their way to college. So she had the plan for me, and she immediately recognized, some of my, strengths as far as math and engineering, and want to take things apart and drawing. And she just started putting me in these camps, just showing me the other side of life versus what I'm witnessing every day in the streets.
Right. Let me interject real quick. Mm-hmm. Dwight said earlier in a conversation while we were off air that he was not a nerd. Right. And I think you just disproved yourself. Okay, that's all.
Well, I'm a nerd with muscles. I don't know.
That's right. So come on.
I did play college football and track and field. So, but no, man, it definitely was a place to where you had to look out and you had to be aware of your surroundings. And like I said, my aunt did the best she could, exposed me to a lot, chose different schools I should go to versus, just who's in the district. And, because I'll tell you, man, poverty is a real thing when it comes to education. The high school I wound up going to had, and people take this lightly, but we had an ACT prep. We had French classes, Spanish classes, all the above. And these other schools that was in my district, due to funding, they didn't have a glee club. They didn't have theater 101. They didn't have all these other things that expose you to a lot more than just math and science, which I think is more relative for a young adult or a youth, versus just how many sides does this triangle have, type deal. Right. But nevertheless, I was able to go to college, do well for myself as far as education-wise. And, my goal now is just to reach out to others and just empower them. Hey, look, I understand what it means not to have a father in the house. I know what it means to lose a parent. I know what it means to grow up in the hood. There's no other way to explain it. And just not sympathize, but empathize. I'm not going to be, oh man, you had a rough bringing up, a rough.
Here, let me give you a handout. I'm not going to give you a handout.
Right. It's kind of like, now what are we going to do? Right. We know the problem.
We got this. Right. Now where are we going?
Exactly.
That's all I need to know.
Exactly. So, but yeah, man, it was rough. It was rough coming up. I had syrup sandwiches and I mean,
ramen noodle and PB&J was good luxuries.
Right.
Sometimes.
Put it like this: when all this COVID stuff happened, I was like, I will survive.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
So it's kind of like one of those deals. So,
man, one of the people. So whenever people ask me, how are you, and people ask that question, most of the time, like they don't care. They're just trying to be polite or whatever. Right. At least in Oklahoma, other places like East and West, like nobody even talks to you, right?
Yeah.
But I love to tell people I'm blessed.
Yeah.
And I genuinely say, you know what? Thank you for asking me that question.
Yeah.
And now I have a new one, and like I live in America, I'm fine.
Yeah. Right.
I know we got our broke, we got our poor, we got our ghettos. We live in America.
Yeah.
Like we're good.
Right.
but I know we all have our own problem.
Have access to clean water.
Yeah, I mean, plumbers save more lives than any person on the planet.
Yeah.
Providing clean water that's drinkable.
Right.
Thank you, plumbers.
Yeah.
But so, man, I want you to tell us a little bit about Grind Legacy. You know, I know the story.
Yeah.
But man, share it with people like how Grind Legacy became.
Man, look, you about to get me excited.
I know.
So,
I know. He's already been a little excited. Like, he's gonna get really excited.
I'm gonna readjust. For this one.
Come on.
All right. Well, with Grind Legacy was founded in 2017, and it came from an idea of what are you willing to do to create the legacy you want? And the reason I came up with that around 2016, 2015, I went through a rough time. Man, I'm talking about, death in the family. I lost my brother. My wife lost her sister. I lost a close cousin of mine that was more like a mother figure for me. And my dad was diagnosed with cancer. I lost a job, and it was just a rough year.
One thing after another. I hear you.
And I was at a point to where, just me and my mentality, I was like, man, I'll do whatever it takes to provide. So I got back into construction. My family owned a construction company. And I remember it was 7:00 in the morning one morning. I had to go do a driveway for a customer. And I just remember having to take my kids with me. So I had to get them up about 6 so we can be there for about 7. I had to go pick up materials and things like this. And we wound up being at that job till about 8:00 that night. I'm talking about we finished concrete by candlelight.
I've used the headlights before. Yeah. Shine it up here, boys.
Exactly.
Like, we're lucky we got a fluorescent light and electricity.
Exactly.
Not always, though.
Right. And I remember getting in the truck, headed back home, and I just looked in the rearview mirror and I was like, man, why am I working this hard? And the only thing I can see is those two kids. My 11-year-old, my 8-year-old. And they were a lot younger at the time, obviously. But I was like, man, my legacy is what's driving me. I want to be able to leave something, and it's not monetarily, Roger. It was more like my dad would get off his butt and do whatever it takes to eat or provide, And with that, man, I just put it on the shirt. It was almost like me putting my feelings on the shirt. And a couple of friends of mine noticed, I'm big. I like real estate as well. So I met some friends to talk about some real estate deals. And while we were talking, they were like, man, I really like your shirt because our motto is failure is necessary. And a lot of people are like, man, why you got to fail? Why you got to fail? And I look at it like this. If you're not failing, you're not trying anything new.
so right there,
it's just one of those deals where,
we can fail forward.
Exactly.
Failing forward is way different than failing.
Right. And what I like to tell people, there's a difference between failing and quitting.
Oh, amen. Yeah.
And I have so many analogies. I mean, we can go
I call them bumps in the road.
Exactly.
I've never failed.
Exactly.
I just have some bumps.
Exactly. And
we grow in the valley. We don't grow on the mountaintop.
Exactly.
Grass grows.
Amen.
Amen, brother.
Amen. Let's talk about it.
Get it. Come on. Give me some Jesus.
But no, and I use the analogy of riding a bike. How many times have you fallen off a bike before you finally got it? Before you knew you had to balance a little better here and there. And, I was able to, portray this, I guess you say this mentality to my friends, and they were like, man, we get it. One of my first friends, he wasn't my friend at the time. He was a restaurant owner. He saw the shirt. He was like, man, I get it. And I own a business and this makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But
man, we know that hustle.
Exactly. It's so and it's, and like I say, it's necessary to go through these things. And at that time, man, Faye would slap me in the face. I mean, I was like, I don't know if I can take it anymore. But with that, the word got out, and I met some friends that kind of, helped me focus on creating or building the brand, and they were able to lead me in the right direction. And the meaning wound up evolving. Okay. So at the beginning, it was all kid, family driven, which it still is. But I realized that I've been through so much that people outside of my children can benefit, right? So I look at it like this. We know the parable in the Bible. If you don't, look it up. But when Jesus fed the multitudes with the fish and the bread, and I don't mean to, I can't quote it verbatim, but I think it was 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. And when he did that, it was thousands of people. And I think in the Bible, I think it said like 5,000 men alone, and yes, could he have just handed out loaves of bread and just kept reaching in the basket and handing out? Probably could. But I think the strength or the power in that parable came from him breaking it. Say, hey, look, here's a little bit for you. Here's a little bit for you. Just a little bit at a time. This is all you need right now. It'll be your fill. When I read that parable, I quickly replaced the bread with myself. And you guys heard me tell my backstory of how I grew up in Louisiana, rough parts, and not having a dad in the home, lost my mom. But I think all those things mold you or breaks you in a certain situation or a certain aspect of your life to where you can feed another individual.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and I like to use this analogy because you see it all the time, but it's like somebody not having kids and trying to tell you how to raise your kids, right? Now, if you have kids and your son broke his arm, I can come to Roger and say, man, Carol just broke her arm. Hey, no, you need this insurance. You need to go to this hospital. Make sure they don't do this,
Oh, yeah.
You can feed me in that area.
Yeah.
Or to get even a little more personal, like if you had an issue with marriage, I can't go to my single little brother and like, hey, man, what would you do in this situation?
Yeah.
Man, I'll leave her. I'll do this. I'll do that. No, you can't. That's
do that.
Foolishness. Right?
That is foolishness. Absolutely.
Right. So
the wisdom of the older generation, I being on purpose and being intentional of having mentors and men that have led the way before me that I can go to, like exactly what you're saying.
Right.
Man, I wish more men understood that.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to blaze it every single time by ourselves. Man, they've already been there. They've done that.
Right. It's funny. My favorite motivational speaker by the name of Jim Rohn, Rohn, and he says that he's like, man, I'll let failures write books. He said, man, if you can tell me how you messed this thing all up, I just have to do the opposite, of what you did. So, but no, man, with Grind Legacy, that's the premise of what we believe. And we go through those failures and we go, we try to feed others, which prompted the 4 E's. So when I was going through my rough time, I took it as a moment to say, look, I'm going to learn as much as I can. If that's reading books, podcasts, motivational speakers, whatever it is, I'm going to do it.
Right.
After I educate myself, I'm going to execute what everybody said in the plan. Whatever I read in this book, whatever the motivational speaker was speaking about, I'm going to try to implement it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would endure the process. Right. So if this is a situation where, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, it's like oh man, this didn't work. Just so happened by me listening to motivational speaker, I know how to reset. I know how to get back on the high horse,
That's right. A, B, C. I mean, sometimes we get down to Z.
Exactly.
Sometimes we get there.
Exactly.
But at least we know how to get that way.
I've been to at least W.
At least W.
I've been there.
Right.
But no.
I think at the end of the Excel spreadsheet, it starts going A, B, B, C.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah. But when we do that, the last part is empowerment. So if I've come through all this, at the end, who am I helping to save them heartache, pain, skint knees, whatever? That's what we're going to do. And like I said, it's just been growing from there, man. I had a chance to sign some people, with our apparel, as far as professionals. A lot of actors in Hollywood, we know acting is a big deal. And if you don't get the call, man, you don't eat. So they are some of the ultimate grinders. But I say that far as celebrities, man, but Grind Legacy is for everyone.
Yeah.
One of my biggest models is my sister-in-law. She's a single parent. She took on the responsibility of raising her oldest sister's kids after losing her.
Okay.
And man, she wakes up 5 o'clock in the morning to see these guys off, make sure their homework is done. Man, that's the ultimate grind to me. And it hits home for me because my mom was that mom.
Yeah.
And do they want to get up that early? No. But that's that's what the grind requires.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what we believe. We believe in empowerment. So we have deals where we, with this whole COVID deal, we were doing some things with the frontline defenders as far as medical professionals, RNs, nurses, and things of that nature. So I'm a big fan of supporting those who are on their grind. And like I said, it's not a situation where we all can't eat. If I see you doing your thing, you're going to get applause from me. You're going to get a pat on the back. If I see you doing motivational speaking, if I see you doing something like you're doing like right now, Roger, man, kudos. We are. This is what it's about. Yeah. That's Grind Legacy.
Being in the next generation.
Yeah.
And this generation to help for the next generation.
Exactly. Well, I got a good friend of mine by the name of Jimmy Joseph. Yeah. Every time I call him, I'm like, man, how you doing, man? I'm trying to get it today so I can give it tomorrow. And that's and I understand exactly what you're talking about, man. Knowledge. So yeah,
that's fantastic. Well, man, tell me just one last thing before we get going. But like, how are you giving back? Like, how does Grind Legacy, Dwight Womack, your family, like, what do y'all do to give back to the world?
Well, I want to get, and this is a kind of loaded deal. As far as Grind Legacy, as far as me, content. I try to put out content that can uplift an individual, and I use the tools that I have. So I hate to say it, but it's also social media at the moment. But kudos to Roger Godwin, kind of pushed me outside of my element, which is, and I thank you for it.
No, my pleasure.
But I want to get into more speaking in public.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, right. Look, and that's not being, I guess you could say, boastful. That is true. That is true.
I mean, whenever you have an opportunity to give a platform to people,
right?
Because man, and the reason why I asked you is not just because of what your Grind Legacy, but I know who you are as a person.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time together,
right?
And I know your heart.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just need a platform.
Yeah.
Which you already had, but now you've just expanded it, and you're going to give other people that platform. Yeah. And I'm just a little part of being able to help push it forward.
Man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. But at the moment, I do talks on social media. I have what's called the Garage Chronicles that I do. And it just talks about different things I've been through in my life, and hopefully individuals can identify. Prime example, you heard me talk about my father. Now, when Father's Day came around, I didn't want to be, I guess you could say, naive to the people that's out there that don't have fathers in their lives. So we celebrate this day and Mother's Day, and we forget the people that don't. It's almost like Christmas when you don't have a family. It's like, well, what is Christmas without somebody to spend it with? Type deal. And I remember doing a talk, and I did a analogy, and I started it off with me tying a tie, and I quickly told people like, look, my dad didn't teach me that, right? But that doesn't mean I didn't have father figures in my life. My uncle taught me how to tie a tie. And I used to be bitter about my father early on. I'm like, man, where was this guy? You got this big kid that's pretty decent in football. You're not showing up to the games. And it affected me. And I didn't even know it, right? I didn't realize it until I went to like a church conference. And but I wanted to bridge the gap for my kids, right? So for them to have a relationship, I had to repair mine. And what I was doing is I was discounting the people that were in my lives as the father figure role. That makes sense.
It does, absolutely.
So I immediately gave kudos to my uncle that taught me how to tie a tie, or to that uncle that made sure I had $20 in my pocket when I was at college, or my brother giving me a job, during the summers, to teach me how to work with my hands, or my other brother punching me in the chest and is still in discipline, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I love stories. They're so much fun.
right. But it was just funny how, we get lost in things like that. We lose sight. What is it? What's the saying? You lose sight of the forest through the trees.
To the trees.
And I just made it a point to where, people need to realize or give kudos to those who are in their lives. So we do talks like that all the time. I think I did one on Mother's Day, and we do, I have it on social media, which is Instagram is @grind_legacy, LinkedIn, grind legacy, and Twitter is legacy grind, and same on Facebook. But that's what we're doing. As far as my family, I want us to get into more of the mission, in more of the mission role. And my wife has been speaking about this for some time now, that she wants to do something. So we're going to be looking at that in the near future.
Right on.
As far as helping the community and things like that. And again, I mentioned a little bit about how we gave back to like the RNs and frontline people through Ground Legacy. Part of the proceeds were going to the people on the front lines of the sales. So we do things like that, hopefully to grow it more. Yeah. But that's where we are right now.
Very cool. I love it. Giving back to the community, and everybody has their different heart, their different mission. I got a good friend of mine that he really enjoys giving to the Oklahoma Food Bank.
Yeah.
Like he gives his time and money to that. Some people do national things. Mm-hmm. Some people do international things. I go and take my time and I go international. Mm-hmm. But getting to do local, national, and international is the value, like all the way up and down. Right. Some people are scared to leave their state. Mm-hmm. Some people are scared to leave the country, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's all right. Right. But there's no greater opportunity, I think, to be thankful and to be grateful than to be able to see how the rest of the world lives.
Exactly.
Because, man, that's just what I say. I'm fine. I live in America. Thank you, Jesus, that I'm one of the few blessed to be here.
Yeah.
But, man, I know, Dwight, that you and your family have a heart to serve and love, and you guys do that at church, and that's actually how Dwight and I met was at Faith Church here in Oklahoma City, and we just connected, man, and we started going in a circle together, and I'll eventually have Vernon on here.
Yeah, nice.
I really hope to have Amy because she's got an incredible story of being adopted and stuff like that. So really treasure you as a friend. And,
appreciate it,
man. Thank you for your time to come on.
Oh, anytime. Thanks for having me.
And guys, if you guys need any advice, anything, Dwight's readily available to call, talk to, social media, on it. I am too. You can go to Out of the Box, go to my personal page, Roger Godwin. Yeah. And we're just here to love you guys, man. If y'all need anything.
Absolutely.
And if you want to come on the show, please make sure to contact me. Be happy to have you.
Yeah.